down in the deep.
Now I know y'all be loving this shit
What
right
you know
here.
about rolling, rolling, rolling,
What you gonna do?
rolling, rolling,
What you gonna do now?
down in the rolling, rolling, rolling.
Welcome to the Man United stream. Hope you're doing well. I've got to stop setting these standards for myself. I really have to stop getting things right constantly. I feel like I'm digging a hole for myself. Everyone's going to expect me to get everything right in the future, but I'm just on a roll right now when it comes to breaking news and getting decent information from sources which is on point. And I've been saying this week I've been saying Mattez Fernandez of West Ham United need to get this deal done. This needs to be done before somebody else comes in and starts sniffing around. And well, now in the last 24 hours, it's as I said, Arsenal have jumped into the race. Not just Arsenal, we're hearing another 2 other Premier League clubs are also interested in signing Mattez Fernandez. United will not get this all their own way. But I was saying this yesterday. I was saying, look, this is a deal that we need to go and get done immediately. Immediately, because number one, he's a player that wants to come to United. Number two, he's liked by everybody at United. And number three, he is going to cost next to nothing. Next to nothing. Seriously, I just don't know what to make of this right now. It's just, yeah, it's just crazy. Anyway, guys, as you're coming in, make sure you hit the like. Make sure you subscribe. Look, this situation right now is where we... Yeah, no voice, please. Please, no voice, Sanus. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, guys? Let me know in the comments. Can you hear me or not? We can hear you now. Thank you. Okay, apologies. I don't know what's going on, but if you can hear me now, that's great news. Look, you know what? Serious problems at United, and we've gone into panic mode right early on. I mean, this is our first signing, and we're already in panic mode. And the reason being is because we all, this is the way United operate. We think we're going to get it all our own way. We think it's going to be all easy. We don't have to worry. And, players will make their way to United no matter what. But that's not how transfer market works any longer. It doesn't work like that. We need to be more we need to be more proactive. I've been saying that for such a long time now. We need to be more proactive. We've got to go out there and get the deals done. We cannot wait around. We can't wait around for players to kind of say openly, publicly, I want to join Man United. Although, I mean, Fernandes has come out essentially and said that. He said, number one, he likes Bruno Fernandes. It's his idol. He's also hinted at, wanting to join United. How much more obvious does he have to bloody make it? I mean, does he have to drive himself outside Carrington and stand there and say, please sign me? Of course that's not going to happen. We need to be proactive and get deals done like this. Especially, these are like low-hanging fruit out there. These are low-hanging fruit that we should be going and getting done as soon as possible. And I was saying this in yesterday's show, and I've said it last week as well. We need to go and get this deal done. He is a class act. He's a very good player, and there'll be other teams looking at him, sniffing around. And it's really interesting as how everything comes out. So this is what was reported yesterday. Arsenal have joined Man United in the race for Mattez Fernandez. Shock, horror. I said it some time ago. I said, look, I called it, man. I don't like being right in these situations, but I am right. And I've got to remind you people that I said, look, this is a deal that needs to be wrapped up quickly because he is going to attract attention, not just from Premier League clubs. Look, if we're looking at this guy and we as Man United fans can say, actually, this guy's really good. 21 years old. He looks like he's got the composure of someone who's much, much more experienced, someone of a later age. And he's going to do really well. He's going to go and score goals. He's almost like a complete midfielder, in my opinion. What I've seen of him so far, he could go on and potentially be a very good complete midfielder. So yes, of course, I said, let's go and sign him. Of course, I want him at United. That's what we need to do. And it's really interesting that this news has been followed up by something that Bruno Fernandes has said, and Ben Jacobs put this out, and I read this and I was like, yeah, this. I think Bruno Fernandes is trying to tell the board right now, don't make this mistake again. And it was concerning Declan Rice. And Ben Jacobs says that Bruno Fernandes tells Joe Bayer he wished Declan Rice joined Man United. Now, I've always said Rice was a player to play for Man United. It was really sad when he chose to go to Arsenal. I always thought he would be the perfect fit for our club. This is crazy to think, because I remember when Declan Rice became available, and this is what he's doing. He's reminding everybody that we could have signed Declan Rice and we didn't. And do not make that same mistake with Fernandes. That's what he's saying. It's not a coincidence that this is coming out on the eve of now hearing that Arsenal are also going in for Fernandes. It is not a coincidence. Nothing happens like this without planning. And I've told you that this is a deal that we cannot let go of. And if you go back all the way back to when Declan Rice was going to sign for Arsenal, and I was saying, United need to go and get in there. I think it was early days of this channel, and I'll have to go and check. I'll have to see if I can clip myself, and I'll go back and check, because I remember saying, go and get Declan Rice. Go and get Declan Rice. We're missing a Declan Rice. We're missing a Declan Rice in this team. If we can sign Declan Rice for no matter how much, we can get this done. But of course, it was back again where we had Glazers, Ineos, and everybody else who didn't want to spend any money, and we didn't have any money to go, but we did have money to go and sign Onana and Rasmus Højlund and Mason Mount. I mean, the list goes on, doesn't it? We had money to sign all these shit players, but we couldn't go and say, right, actually, save all that shitty money that we're throwing down the bloody pan, and let's go and get one top player, a marquee signing. And that's what I'm saying right now in this summer as well. Stop wasting your money buying shit players, the likes of Edison and all these others that you're linking yourselves to. We don't want those shit players. We don't want bit part players. We've had that, been there, done that, got the t-shirt, and it doesn't effing work. It doesn't work. Ugarte, Zertsky, Højlund, name these. We've got so many of these players. Mason Mount, although he doesn't get called out enough. Onana, the list goes on and on of the players that we've signed that are simply not good enough. But yet we're trying to make out to be that, no, do you know what? They'll come good. They'll come good. No, sometimes you've got to go and sign the best players in the league. Sometimes you've got to put your money where your mouth is. A Declan Rice was, now we're all saying, oh, Declan Rice, best player, best midfield player behind Bruno Fernandes this season. And it's because of him that Arsenal have done what they've done. And they're going to go to the first Premier League title they're going to win. And it's all down to Declan Rice. And it could be. I'm not saying that, look, it's not Declan Rice, but I'm saying, look, he's been pivotal for Arsenal and giving them that stability in the middle of the pitch. And I've always been an advocate for going and getting top midfield players because, again, if you've watched my shows, I've always repeat the same thing. The core of the team is the midfield in a Premier League team. Maybe not in other leagues you can get away with not having a very good midfield. But in the Premier League, you need a top midfield to win the league. If you look back at all the top Premier League winning teams, they've always had phenomenal midfield players. And Declan Rice, of course, has made a huge difference to Arsenal. And yes, this is another point in now where I'm thinking, yes, we need to go and sign someone like Fernandes. We do need to go and sign Fernandes because he will make a difference. He is the future of United, possibly. And we need to pull our fingers out. Now, the story is, of course, overnight that we've heard that Arsenal have jumped in and they're trying to hijack this deal. They're going to offer Fernandes something. Now, initially, we were all thinking, oh, actually, Tonali. If Tonali's available, Arsenal will go for him. It'll be fine. We'll be left for our own devices. We'll be left to go off and shop around in luxury. Don't need to rush or anything. But that's very rarely the case. Or always in the Premier League or anywhere, when there's a top player available, do not assume that you're the only bloody club in for him. That's not how it is. Top players always attract attention. So I'm confident now that, look, United are still in the pole position to get Fernandes because of what he said. Number one, because of what he said about United. Number two, his link with Bruno Fernandes and how he looks up to Bruno Fernandes and how he feels like he's his idol. Imagine being given the opportunity to play alongside Bruno Fernandes. That is why this Fernandes, Mattez Fernandez, is likely to join United, but only if United pull their bloody finger out and actually start doing the legwork. Now, I have heard from a very good source that United have made direct approach for Fernandes. Now, before this, we were listening, or I was getting information that United have put out the feelers. Now, when they say we've put out the feelers, doesn't necessarily mean that United make any direct contact. It means that they've maybe instructed a third party, intermediary agent or somebody to go and check and sniff around what Fernandes is looking for in personal terms, what maybe West Ham might look for in a valuation to sell Fernandes. So that's what's happened previously in the last maybe month or so. That's what's been going on. Now, however, United have stepped it up a little bit more, knowing that Arsenal are there, knowing that other clubs are now going to jump in and try and hijack the deal. I'm hearing that United are now going to push a bit more and make direct contact with his representatives. About bloody time. I mean, come on. Get going. Get moving. We need to get these deals done. We can't sit around. And say, oh, do you know what? It's fine. It's fine. Fernandes is a done deal and he's going to come to United. Why is it only United who make these slow, laborious moves? Why? Why do we have to talk about it for months before United even lift a bloody finger? Why? We need to make the moves. I almost feel like United think, oh, well, we're Man United. So we don't need to proactively do anything. But that's not the case. The United of old was proactive. We'd go out there, chase and hound and get the players. United under Fergie, he could have sat there and said, look, I'm Alex Ferguson. I've won everything there is to win. I'm not going to go chasing around. But he didn't. He went chasing around. He would get on personally onto flights and fly out to meet players. The likes of Schmeichel. I remember listening to a story about him, Fergie going to meet him, about Cristiano Ronaldo, this young kid that Fergie could have said, I'm not going out to see him. I'm not going to fly out to see this young kid who's a teenager. What the hell? If he wants to join Man United, because we're Man United, he should join us. And if he doesn't, he can spin on it. But he didn't do that. He flew all the way out to Portugal, went to meet him in person and his family and convinced them that United was the right place for this young superstar player. And the rest was obviously history. And that is why I look back now and I think, surely the people at United right now should be doing the same thing. Surely they should be proactive, going down, seeing these players, convincing their representatives that United is the only place for these players. We need to be like this, or else we're going to keep on losing out on key targets. There is no point going for our second or third or fourth choice players. If you've earmarked one of these players as the best player, and then you're allowing them to go to your rivals, it is neglect. It is gross negligence. That is what is allowing other teams around us to grow. And the Declan Rice thing, yes, of course, we had the opportunity to sign Declan Rice. I think it was the same time as when Harry Kane was around as well. Harry Kane was talked up as well. And I was saying, look, go and get Declan Rice, go and get Harry Kane, and our team becomes phenomenal. We get a core in that team that's going to be solid. And, well, of course, that didn't happen. I mean, I unfortunately, I was not in charge of United's transfers and recruitment and, budgets. But, yeah, they saved a couple of pennies, maybe. I don't know. I don't think they did, actually. I think they ended up signing more players for them positions, not fulfilling them. I mean, we signed Mason Mount for about 70 mil. Wasn't it 70 mil? Let me check, man. I don't want to get this wrong because I don't want to defame Mason Mount. He's a nice kid. Like I said, I've got nothing against personal around any of these players. And I don't like mentioning these, but I'm just saying as a player, look, what did he sign him for? I can't even find it now. I'm so het up about this. I'm so anyway, it wasn't cheap. It wasn't cheap. I'll find out, and I'll put it up if I need to, but it was a lot of money. It was a lot of money. We signed him for a lot of money, which we didn't need to. We didn't need to sign him, right? I think it was 70 mil. I think it was 70 mil that we got Mason Mount for. And if we added a couple of... no, I know it sounds like, yeah, it's a lot of money. But if we put on another 20, 30 mil, we could have gone and signed someone like Declan Rice. We could have gone and signed some other players. This is the problem. This is why I keep saying, look, you've got to look out of the box. Now, another player that is making the headlines in the last couple of days after Fernandes is Adam Wharton. Now, a lot of people are saying United, if Elliot Anderson is not available, United are really seriously looking at Adam Wharton. Now, again, I don't think that they have been looking at Adam Wharton seriously. I think what's happened is that they've suddenly realised that other clubs are now in for Adam Wharton. So they're thinking, oh, maybe we could go in for him too now. We know of it, Adam Wharton, but we've not been serious enough. But now, because other clubs are looking at him, maybe, just maybe, we need to start doing the same. Why do United have to follow? United need to be leading. Need to be leading, not following. Now, of course, Liverpool have been long-term admirers of Adam Wharton, and now there's lots of rumours, reports flying around in the last 24 hours to 48 hours that Adam Wharton is going to get tapped up by Liverpool. Liverpool are pushing aggressively to go and get Adam Wharton. This is it. This is it. Proactive. They've got to show the love. A player has to feel wanted. A player has to feel like he is the man that's wanted. Now, Adam Wharton, a lot of people have said, look, yeah, there's a reason why United haven't been pushing for him, and it's because, look, he's a similar player to Kobbie Mainoo, who kind of does things quietly, gets the ball, retains it, and just plays a forward pass, and that's it. He's a clean-up. He's a cleaner. He's a cleaner in the midfield. A player who doesn't do theatrical things, doesn't make the 50-yard passes or something, but just simply does the basics and does them well. And he doesn't get you off your seat kind of thing. But Adam Wharton is highly, highly regarded. I think, look, again, if we want to be a serious club, we need an understudy to Kobbie Mainoo, or we need someone who is pushing Kobbie Mainoo to play well. We can't have a situation where Kobbie Mainoo is the only player in that team that plays that position. And then we're like, okay, if Kobbie Mainoo gets injured or something happens, then we're up shit's creek, aren't we? We're up shit's creek. But look, for me, Adam Wharton, yeah, he would be a good alternative for Kobbie Mainoo. If Kobbie Mainoo gets injured, like I say, if Kobbie Mainoo falls off for whatever reason, which sometimes happens to these players, especially when they get a big contract and they've been working up towards that contract. He's going to the World Cup, then he comes back, maybe he's knackered, maybe he doesn't want to, but same thing, Wharton, he's going off to the World Cup as well. But why not go and sign these players? I think Wharton is going to be tapped up by other clubs, though. Like we saw Pep the other day. I mentioned this actually to you. I said, look, did any of you watch the clip of Pep going up to Wharton? I've got this clip. Hope it doesn't get copyrighted. Do not copyright me, YouTube. Do not copyright me. But anyway, guys, make sure you hit the like as you're coming in. Make sure you hit the like. It just kind of boosts the live stream and it goes out to lots more Man United fans. And I'm sure they also deserve a little bit of Travis in the mornings. Of course they do. Of course they need to learn of all the things going on at United, and they need to have an accurate picture of what's going on in the transfer market and what Ineos and Glynios, or whatever it is called right now, are doing to this United. What he's saying. Look, the appreciation from a top manager, and Wharton is loving it. He's loving it. I mean, they lost, by the way. They lost 3-0. But look at Wharton. He's smiling away and he's like, yeah, okay, man. And whatever Pep said, that he's tapping him up, man. He's tapping him up. United need to do this. This is why top managers are top. Because what they do is they convince their players to join the club. That's why I was saying about Carrick yesterday, about, oh, look, Carrick not having the charisma, not having that get out and, go and get things done. And that is a weakness of Michael Carrick. And I accept that. Obviously, some people have also questioned his style of play and what his tactical skills are and whether he's good enough to outmaneuver tactically managers like Pep and others. That's still questionable, and I still accept that. But yeah, look, we need to talk about Carrick. We need to talk about Carrick. Now, last night again, I'm on a roll. I'm on a roll right now. I feel like everything I touch turns to gold. I've got the Midas touch, and that's because again, thank you to who you know who you are, my sources. I appreciate, guys. That look, I'm nothing without my sources. You know, I'm just a humble presenter here, but without having the contacts, without having the people to give me the information, I'd be sat here just not doing anything. I wouldn't be able to report these things. But like I said a couple of days ago, I said, look, Michael Carrick is rumoured to be being offered a 1 to 2 year contract, which is kind of taking the piss, right? And that's exactly now the information that is being reported by other people, other reliable sources, and they're all saying the same thing now. So I was going out on a limb here, by the way. I went out on a limb, three days ago when the news broke about maybe Carrick getting the job, and I was like, Carrick's already got the job, guys. I reported this 2 weeks ago. If you were a member, you watched my show. Jim is in the house. Jim's probably watched it, and Jim can confirm that. Look, 2 weeks ago, I put out 1.5 weeks ago, I put out a video saying, look, Carrick's got the job. Carrick has been confirmed, but we're not going to get any announcement. And then slowly this week, everyone started reporting on it. But now I'm reporting on some. But this week I've gone ahead. I've already confirmed he's got the job. This week I was reporting that he's going to get a 1 to 2 year contract. And boom, as clockwork, it's dropped, and it is going to now come out more and more that United are planning to offer Michael Carrick an initial 2 year contract with options to extend for a further year. That spells trouble for me. That shows that they have no real confidence in Michael Carrick taking this club to the next level. Although they have got this plan, is it 2027? I think it is, or 2028. Well, I think it's 2028. Plan 2000 or Project 2027. It is by Ineos, where they think that's the year that they're going to win the title. Well, I'm guessing they think it's going to be Michael Carrick who's going to take us to the title. But it doesn't fill you with confidence, does it? It doesn't fill you with confidence that he's not being given a long-term contract. Maybe they're learning from their mistakes, I guess. Maybe you can't win either way, can you? It's a double-edged sword. At 1 minute we're saying that, look, they give these crazy contracts to managers and then they have to pay them off. But maybe they've learned from their lesson and thinking, actually, let's not get carried away. Yes, Carrick's had a brilliant time so far as interim manager, but can he succeed? Let's not. But either way, now that they've chosen Carrick, what's going to happen is they're going to get it in the neck. Either way, if things don't go right, they're going to get told that they were shit and it was their fault. But let's wait and see. Let's wait and see what's going to happen with Carrick, because I look at Carrick and think he can succeed, but there's also a real danger that things screw up with Carrick. Because he might still have the same set of players underneath him. And if he's still got the same set of players that are playing for him, that have let managers down time and time again, what makes Carrick different? Maybe because he's aware of the players who've done that. But I don't know. Hasib, welcome to the channel, mate. Hope you're doing well. Hijack for a Portuguese brother who idolizes Bruno Shaw. That Arsenal, yeah. Look, this is it, man. This is it. This is what's going to hurt even more. I mean, I saw the news and I was like, no way can we allow this to happen. No, stop this. Sanas, welcome, mate. Hope you're doing well all the way from Nigeria. Nish says, yep, you're right, Travis. Arsenal are sniffing around him now. Well, Arsenal are... Look, I think Arsenal realise that he's a cheap beast, right? They can get... I mean, there's Tonali on the other side who's going to cost in the region of 70+ million. If they can get Fernandes, who's going to, number one, give you more time because he's 21, he's got lots more potential, lots more playing time left in his career. Will he be a better investment? And of course, yeah, the answer would be yes. And I'm telling you, Fernandes, his build is made for the Premier League. He is big, strong, burly. Again, someone who can handle himself in the Premier League. He's made for the Premier League, and I think that's why Arsenal are looking at him thinking, yeah, he's ready-made to move across London to the Emirates Stadium and play for Arsenal. United need to get a move on. United need to get a move on before we lose this guy. And yeah, United are, behind the scenes, what I've heard this morning is that United are serious about this and are now making moves to get this deal done. But again, have they lost that pole position that they were in initially? Salah says, we can't enjoy this team now because of selfish board, because they are after their own share until when they sell the club. Yeah, look, the board is all about saving money. The board is all about saving money. Our problem is that we've committed to Baleba and Brighton 185 mil and 10 million plus in add-ons. It's just insane. Yeah, do you know what? That's a great point you made there, Nish, because last night I was reading something about Baleba and why United are so stuck on Baleba. And it is because United have agreed personal terms and gave Baleba the assurance that they're going to come and sign him in the summer. So they said, look, don't worry, we'll be back to sign you. And they've still not been able to move away from that signing. But for me, I'm just thinking, look, yeah, Baleba is good, but not for that much money, man. Not for that much money. Please stop. Please, this is lunacy to go and try and sign somebody who's going to cost us that much. I'm hearing we are in some way obligated to buying Baleba. Yeah, I think it's the gentleman's agreement. That's what's happened, Nish. I think what's happened is that, what I've heard anyway, is that United gave him his word, gave their word to him saying, look, we will come and sign you, don't worry. And now they find it struggling to backtrack, saying, well, actually, we've given him our word. We said to him that we will be coming to sign him. Just sit tight. But again, I just think, nah, not at that price, man. You've got to walk away. You've got to walk away. Nish, I disagree with that. Ineos don't overpay, and they do walk away like they've done with Baleba last season and Branthwaite. Well, they didn't walk away technically from Baleba last season. What happened last season or summer was that Brighton told United he's not going anywhere this summer. He's not gonna be sold. So come back next summer. That's what they were told. United were told, hence why United walked away. Not because they didn't want to pay the amount. I believe, from what I've read last summer, after the summer transfer window closed, that United would have gone up to at least 80 to 90 million to sign Baleba and would have put the additional amount Brighton were asking for in as add-ons if they qualify for Champions League, or, you know, he got a certain number of goals and things like that. They would have put in as add-ons. So they would have still paid to get Baleba to United. But it so happens that things didn't work out that way. Brighton immediately said he's not going anywhere this season because they wanted other clubs to jump into the race of signing Baleba. They felt like he was going to be a sensation this summer or this season, and it didn't work out that way. Brighton, it backfired on Brighton. Now Brighton are now thinking, shit, what do we do here? Because yes, Baleba has had an awful season for us. His price, they don't want it to be affected, but it's not good. It's not good. Anyway, so yeah, look, Branthwaite, I think United did walk away from that one because of the price. They did walk away from Branthwaite. Everton were happy to sell Branthwaite. It's just United didn't want to pay that much money, and I'm so glad they didn't. But yeah, look, United have got some sense under Ineos. Like, they don't want to overpay. They know that they get charged the United tax and things like that. And they do drive a hard bargain. We saw that with Mbumo during the summer. United were squabbling over, I think it was 5 mil. I think around about 5 mil they were squabbling over. And the delay in signing Mbumo was down to that 5 mil, whether they were going to pay it or not. And it just went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until they agreed to meet somewhere in the middle. Now, the old United would have paid that immediately and just got over and done with. But with Ineos, they do drive a hard bargain, and they don't mind negotiating, and they don't mind delaying transfers. Look, I don't disagree with that. I think, look, if that's the case, as long as we're in there, as long as the player is done and dusted and the terms have agreed. So in terms of like now, Mattez Fernandez, For me, if we can agree personal terms and we can more or less guarantee that he's going to come to United, then yeah, we can chill out. Then we can go to West Ham and negotiate hard, knowing that we've got the leverage that the player wants to join United and he's decided that he's not going anywhere else. Right now, the problem is we've not done that with Mattez Fernandez. We need to do that. We need to box him off. In the case of Baleba, that's why it makes it a lot easier for United to keep saying, oh, Baleba, because they know they've boxed him off. They know he doesn't want to go anywhere else. And there is an appeal because of that. I mean, that's why United keep going back to Baleba, because they know that the player wants United and only United. And that does help the situation. Only issue is that, you know, Baleba's current form is not what you want to be seeing. Hasib says, if the price is right, Baleba is good. One of the most athletic midfielders I've seen. He's got high ceiling, just shouldn't be the main midfielder signing. Yeah, look, I don't disagree with that. I've said it a number of times in the last couple of weeks that, look, if we get, say, for instance, too many and maybe another midfielder and we get Baleba, I'm happy with that because we've got options. We know that Baleba is an understudy or someone who could come in when he's needed, but we're not reliant upon him and we're not spending huge amounts of money bringing in just that one marquee signing in Baleba. I would rather go and get somebody else who's first place, who's our starting 11, and then bring in Baleba as a backup option if we need to. I would do that. I would definitely do that. But the problem what I have is that we're kind of being told that there's going to be a marquee signing in the midfield. That's not a secret. We're being told that there will be a marquee signing and it will be a midfielder for about 80 million. Sounds a lot like Baleba, right? It sounds like the marquee signing is Baleba and then we're going to end up with someone like Edison or something. That, for me, is not a good move. For me, I would rather spend that money and go and get a player that's in the form of his life and is playing top football and is just more reliable than Baleba, and maybe even have more experience. If we're talking about Tchouaméni costing in the region of about 70 million, Tchouaméni and Baleba, there's no comparison, is there? There's no comparison. I doubt there's many people watching right now who will say they'd take Baleba over Tchouaméni. There might be. I might be wrong, but I'm thinking the majority of the people watching and the majority of Man United fans would take Tchouaméni over Baleba for experience, for what you can do on the pitch as well. That's why I think, look, we've got to be clever about this and, yes, sign the players that we know that can actually do a job. Nish says, Wharton, Menu just doesn't work, way too passive. Yeah, look, I think it's one or the other. It's, it's a backup option, but Wharton doesn't fit. Yeah, and Hasib says the same thing. Wharton doesn't fit what Carrick been doing. He's slow, doesn't cover spaces. Yeah, Wharton and Menu, I think, are very similar, and that's been one of the big reasons why we're hearing that United have strayed away from Wharton. But I still think he's a class act. I still think he's a great player to have in our squad, because you got to remember, if we're playing Premier League, Champions League, FA Cup, Carabao Cup and everything, if we're involved in all competitions, we need a squad that can be stretched to all these games. Menu is not going to be able to do every game. That's why we need, and the same applies to, this is why I look at Mattez Fernandez, and I think Bruno Fernandes is aging. Bruno Fernandes has had phenomenal run for United. Very rarely got injured. He got injured slightly this season, but again was back to playing a regular football again for United. But look, if he picks up maybe another injury next season, one of our key players, do we have a backup option for Bruno Fernandes? In steps Mattez Fernandez, another Fernandes. Fernandes for Fernandes. I mean, brilliant. That's what I'm looking at anyway. Pep is the GOAT man. Shame he is linked with them. He talked with all the players for the game against Arsenal. What a guy. Pep is a G, man. Pep is, this is what I'm saying. Look, Pep's managers make a difference. They do. And I was saying this in yesterday's show. Look, when I was kind of not criticising, but I was nitpicking at Carrick and his experience. And I was saying, look, Carrick doesn't have that experience. And it does have some bearing on the players that are coming in. Some players might look at Carrick and think, well, actually, do I want to really work with Michael Carrick? Is there, if there's a decision between Carrick and Pep? This is not about Man City and Man United, by the way. If it's just about working with a certain manager, because players nowadays, that's what they care about as well. They care about working for a certain manager. Jim says, saying Wharton is like Manu is just United's excuse not to go in for him. Our owners think we are stupid. Yeah, look, this is it. They did say that. That is what came out from initially from one of my sources. They said, look, yeah, they've shortlisted Wharton, but they do feel like he's like Kobbie Mainoo. And I was like, well, what makes us think that Kobbie Mainoo is going to play every single game next season? Surely, we should have a like-for-like replacement from one world-class player to another world-class player. I mean, I remember teams of United. I remember Chelsea, that were title-winning teams. They always had a world-class replacement. And I think Mourinho once said it. Mourinho said, look, for every position, you should always have two world-class players competing against each other. So they're always there on the back of the player who's making it to the first team, knowing that he can't have a bad game because the other player is going to step in. And that's how you create this competition. And that's how you create standards at a club. You can't say, oh, well, Kobbie Mainoo, we've got Kobbie Mainoo, so he shouldn't have any competition in that position. I'm a big fan of Kobbie Mainoo, but I also want him to face competition. I want him to be up against the very best, knowing, shit, I can't have a quiet game. I can't have a game where I drop off. I need to make sure I'm always playing and always doing the best, the very best, or I'm going to get taken off. Asib says, they are similar, both very effective on the ball and will struggle in a pairing. Yeah, in a pairing, definitely not. I mean, definitely not in a pairing, but as a competition for each other, I think that's the way we need to be going, and that's how we need to be looking at United. I think, look, if you look at positions where we have got like-for-like replacements, I think it creates competition, and that player then has to make sure that he's on his A game because he knows, right, okay, if I'm not good enough, I'm going to be taken off. So, look, I think that creates competition. I think that's the best way to be building our squad for the future. Jim says, I think they may be waiting for a coach that is in a job and then don't want to pay him out, hence a short contract could be. Yeah, I agree. I think there is some thinking that United were hoping that maybe the Tier A manager list comes available, or one or two of them becomes available. I'm talking about Enrique's, the Tuchel's, the Ancelotti's, the ones that are. We know Sir Jim Ratcliffe met with Thomas Tuchel and sat down with him for a number of hours chatting about taking over at United before they went and signed Ruben Amorim. So Jim Ratcliffe wanted Thomas Tuchel. Mind you, we can't go off Jim Ratcliffe because he also wants Gareth Southgate. So I don't know if that's a good thing. Pete, welcome. Hope you're doing well, mate. Flying Dutchman says, for me, a good midfielder must be at least a good passer of the ball. And Blaber ain't that. So Blaber is a hell no for me. Well, at least you're decisive. At least you are calling it out like it is. Look, for me, Blaber has not shown the form of his first season. Was it a one-hit wonder, I wonder? Yeah, I do look at Blaber and think, was it just that first season he's come in and he's got the bit between his teeth and he wants to showcase what he can do and he's really gone for it? And then, is this the real Blaber though? Is this the one that we're going to sign? Because, yeah, we could be in a lot of trouble if we go and sign Blaber for £80+ million and he turns up and is not even making the first team. That for me is big problems. I do like his stature. I think he's big, he's strong, he's someone that can do a job in the midfield, but not if he's not on his A game. That's my issue. Daz, welcome to the show, mate. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for your comment. It's the first time I think I've seen your name, so appreciate you letting us know your thoughts. He will want to play with Bruno. That's key, but he's also... but we also know this club can mess it up. Absolutely. I mean, right now, actually, a couple of days ago, in fact, yesterday, in the live show yesterday, I was like so confident, almost cocky, wasn't I? I was cocky in saying, yeah, we get Mattez Fernandez. He's a done deal. We'll get him done. 40 mil around that mark and we'll sign him up. And because he's a huge fan of Bruno Fernandes and he's a huge fan of United, he wants to join United. It's a done deal. I don't think we're going to have any problem doing that. But 24 hours later, and now we're panicking. I'm panicking. United are panicking. Everyone's panicking because they know, oh shit, this is not a secret. Everybody else knows that he's a good player as well. My God, how did they find out that he's a good player? I mean, why do we always get carried away with this? I think it's our approach that everything messes up on. So yes, he wants to play. Yes, he wants to be at United, but we can't take that for flipping granted, can we? We can't just sit there and say, oh, it's fine. We'll come to him at the end of the transfer window because he wants United. Well, no, it doesn't work like that, guys. Come on, Ineos, wake up. Wake up, man. Pete says, better not be Tchouaméni is a master. Yeah, Tchouaméni is a beast of a player. I love watching him. I just feel like, actually, did you hear that Camavinga didn't make it into the French international team? For me, that's a shocker. But again, this is what you're playing with. If you're not playing regular football for your club side, which Camavinga and Tchouaméni isn't, someone let me know if Tchouaméni made it into the French international team. I think he did. I'm sure I saw his name there yesterday. But Camavinga didn't. And that is, for me, that's a surprise, man. That is a surprise. Let me double check, actually. Whilst I'm on the France international squad, right? Let's see, man. Let me give you some live update. I mean, let's see. I think. Let me see here. Here we go. So, Tchouaméni it has made it there. Tchouaméni's made it. Let me just bring it up on the screen because why should I have all the fun? You guys can see as well. So that's their squad. So the French squad, and you can see Camavinga's not part of it. They've got a crazy squad, haven't they? I mean, it's a world class player after world class, but you can see Tchouaméni there. The shocking one for me is how the hell has Rabiot made it in to the international team and Camavinga has not? That is ridiculous. But again, this is it. If you're not playing regular football, even Camavinga, Rabiot isn't playing regular football, but he's there. But I think that's just the manager likes Rabiot, and he actually plays ahead of some of the other midfielders that we're talking about there. I mean, that's what's crazy. But they've got a crazy squad, really good team. So yeah, look, that is United. United's target man who's going off to the World Cup. It would have been really nice. I don't want to sound too like bad. I don't want to sound really bad here, but it would have been nice if Tchouaméni was left out of the squad. Just saying. I think it would have pushed him over the edge to leave Real Madrid and join United. Just saying. That sounds really bad, I know, but you don't want the worst for these players. But there's a little tingling thought of me thinking, actually, if Tchouaméni was left out of the international squad, yeah. But then this again tells you how good he is. By the way, guys, he's not even getting regular football at Real Madrid, but he's been picked for the international team because they know how good he is. We are missing a beat on this one. Dad says it's just BS from the owners. If they mess up this summer, we need them to be gone. Yeah, I'm sick and tired of this shit. I mean, look, this is it. This summer, this is it. I'm waiting for these guys to prove themselves. And if they're not going to do what they've been telling us that they're going to do since the moment they took over about, we're going to go and sign the best in class, we're going to go and sort out recruitment, we're going to go and get the best backroom staff, and we're going to build United into a title-winning team again. Well, this is your fucking chance, right? And you better not mess it up, because if you do, I want you out. I want you out, man. Ineos, enough of your bullshit, man. Enough of your bullshit. You've had plenty of time to get things in order. You cannot go into another summer transfer window and tell us that you're not going to invest in the team and you're not going to get the signings that are literally calling out to be signed. We're getting Fernandes saying he wants to join United. I mean, what more does he have to do? Like I said, does he have to bloody get a taxi to Carrington and say, right, okay, I'm driving up myself? No. Anish says, you're not buying Wharton for 80 mil, then sticking him on the bench, though he's spending 250 mil this summer max. Yeah, I get your point. I mean, he probably wouldn't want to sit on the bench either, but you do need you need to think about. I think, look, if I'm being honest with you, I think United are not going to sign Wharton this summer. They're not going to sign Wharton at all. I think they're going to allow him to probably join City or Liverpool. I think if he joins City, that's good news for United. And the reason why it's good news for United is because maybe then Anderson does become available, and they would probably go for Anderson over Wharton because Anderson could play right next to Kobe Mainoo and do well. But we'll see that. We'll see some of that in the international break when it comes to World Cup. Maybe Anderson does play next to Mainoo, and we get to see whether he's good enough there. Flying Dutchman says, Wharton ain't my preference, but at least as a midfielder, he can pass the ball, while Blaber doesn't have that in his locker. Blaber is hell no for me, says Flying Dutchman. Asif says, the issue is first to get a starting six. Have option one there for two positions with Kobe, Ugarte, and Case are gone. Yeah, look, I think we need to make sure we don't miss the opportunity to sign the right bloody player. That's my issue right now. Asif says, not true for me. If we sign three midfielders, Mainoo will hold bench depending on performances. All right, okay, wow. Well, look, I think Mainoo is gonna carry on playing for United. I think he's going to be the one that he's going to make the first 11 if he carries on playing the way he does. He's going on in the right direction to become United's main midfielder, especially in that holding position, and he does a fantastic job. He does. I keep saying this. He is really, really good, but he's not a defensive type of midfielder. Many people get this wrong. Many people think that Kobe Mainoo is that player that can play very similar to Casemiro. He can't. He can't play that. Kobe Mainoo is a more of a forward-thinking midfielder. He's someone that does like getting forward, and he's capable. He's capable of scoring goals. We've seen that at United. Whereas in terms of someone like Casemiro, he is someone who's defensively minded, has to always look for the passing lanes, cut them off, and he can put tackle in. And that's what I think we're missing, and we will miss him. We've seen it this season. I'm not saying this. It's not my opinion, by the way. It's not my opinion. We've seen this season where Casemiro, every time he comes off the bench, comes off and he's subbed off, and we've put on Ugarte or whoever else, it drops like a rock. Our performance does. Our performance goes straight through the floor, and I don't know what it is. I've tried to look at it again and again, thinking, what is it that changes when Casemiro goes off? And I just feel like, although he hasn't got the legs in him anymore, he's still very good positionally. He still knows where to position himself, what to do. He can see danger. He always goes back and helps out the defense. We don't see all what Casemiro does off the ball. And that's where he does most of his work, and that comes with experience. Hence why, when we're talking about Baleba or any other young signing, and I think, yeah, look, fine, we're going to bring these players in, but without experience, I think we're going to struggle. That's why I look at the signing of Tchouaméni or Tonali as possibly better options. But one thing is for sure, we need to start sealing up these deals as quick as possible, because if we don't, there's going to be other clubs. There's going to be other clubs waiting around. And Arsenal right now, they're busy with the Champions League and the title. But as soon as they get done, they're going to be on it. The same thing with Man City. I think Man City have already started working behind the scenes. They've already started doing stuff. So look, it's going to be a really, really interesting thing to cover as entirely what's going to happen in the summer transfer window. Daniel, welcome, mate. Hope you're doing well. Daniel says, breaking news, Manchester United are proposing an offer to Michael Carrick for a 2-year contract as head coach with option of an additional season for 2029. Laurie Whitwell, yeah, we've discussed that this morning, Daniel, but thanks, man. Thanks for letting us know the breaking news. I like that. I like that, man. I like it. Thanks for, we discussed this just earlier about how Carrick is being offered the 2-year contract with an extension. I called it yesterday or the day before, and I said, look, we're gonna give him. I'm not happy, man. I'm not happy, Daniel, about the 2-year. Let us know what you think. But for me, I'm thinking, it's it doesn't show us that they really believe in what Carrick is offering. But look, it's going to be an interesting one. It's going to be an interesting one how they pursue it and what they do. It's Jim Ratcliffe, by the way, who they have to convince. The board have to convince. The board is already convinced. They already know Carrick's the guy. I don't think it's going to take a lot of convincing for Jim Ratcliffe, unless Jim Ratcliffe sits there. I mean, it could be really funny. And Jim Ratcliffe, can you imagine? Can you imagine the meeting? Everyone walks into the boardroom. Jim Ratcliffe is there, sat there. And everyone's, morning, Jim, morning, Sir Jim, morning, Sir Jim. Everyone sits down and then they're like, Sir Jim, all right, okay, well, we, as a board, have decided to put forward the name of Michael Carrick as the permanent head coach of Man United. And Jim Ratcliffe sits there and thinks, nah, I want to go with Gareth Southgate. Thank you very much. Bring in Gareth Southgate. Can you imagine the mayhem? De Zerbi got 5 years. De Zerbi did well, man, getting 5 years. I think it's not bad because Amrin got 2+1 as well. Yeah, I just feel like if you're showing commitment to the manager, you want them to kind of be like, yeah, look, he's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. But look, I agree. I do think, look, they are covering their backs in this one. They're covering their backs. They're going to make sure that this time they can get rid of the manager without paying him a huge amount of money in terms of a compensation. So that's what I think is happening with Carrick. They're being careful, and they know that if they get it wrong, you know the knives are going to be out for Ineos. If Carrick screws up in the new season and things don't go to plan and they don't back him in the right way, I think everyone, all the fans are going to be out for Ineos and they're going to be out for blood. They're going to say, get the hell out of here. And rightly so, man, because Ineos clearly have been making huge errors in their time so far at United, not just in the recruitment side of things, because everyone's forgotten what they've done with all the signings that they've made this summer. This summer they've actually got it right, but I think that's more to do with Christopher Vivell, the head of recruitment, than it is to do with anybody else. I think he's pushed these signings. He's pushed for the signing of Senny Lemons and Sesko. So I think it gives us something to look forward to in the future. Whereas I think if Ineos were left to their own devices, I think they would have screwed up this summer as well. Danielle says, I hope we bring in an attacking coach. It's essential for Carrick's tenure. 100% agree, says Daniel. Yeah, man, thanks for your breaking news as well. Appreciate that. Make sure you hit the subscribe and join our morning show every 11 every day at 11 a.m. We're always live. I'm always live giving you the breaking news concerning Man United. And yeah, so make sure you hit that subscribe. Make sure you hit your likes as well, guys, as you're leaving, as you're coming in. I appreciate everybody who's been in the chat this morning. It's been a cracking show. Hopefully, I'm fingers crossed. Every time I look at my phone, I think, please tell us, please let it be a breaking news that United have made a formal offer to sign a new midfielder. That's what I'm after, and I want to report that. So make sure you hit the subscribe so you don't miss anything on this breaking. I mean, it's going to be crazy, isn't it? I'm so excited. I'm absolutely buzzing. I love the summer transfer windows anyway, but knowing that United are forced to go out there and rebuild their squad, it's exciting. It's like I'm sat there on Championship Manager or whatever it is on FIFA, and I'm building my ultimate team, and you know, I'm excited. It's like when you sign a new player for your team on any game, this is, and then you want to go and see how they are. Or you pack someone in EAFC, a top player, and you put them in the team and you build a team around him and you're thinking, right, let's go and test him out. Let's go and see if this player is good enough. And it's almost like that in real life when you see the links of Fernandes and others coming to United, Balebas and Tuamenes, whatever, and you start thinking, oh my God, I want to see this team cook. I want to see this team absolutely destroy other teams in the Premier League and Championship and the Champions League. So, yeah, it's interesting times ahead, guys. So I'm going to leave it there. It's been a cracking show. Thank you to everybody who's been in the chat and, of course, everyone who's been watching. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow morning. Or I might see you later on tonight. It's Friday night, isn't it? So I always do a Friday night chilled out show. I might come on later on tonight and do the chilled out show with you guys and look forward to the weekend's fixtures. Take care.